Hey everyone. Today we're diving into Meta's recent quarterly earnings report and all the big moves they're making, especially around AI. So let's unpack this step by step. Now, the headline here is that Meta just reported a pretty incredible quarter. They brought in $40.6 billion in sales, which was actually a 19% jump compared to the same period last year. Investors were expecting $40.19 billion. So Meta did better than Wall Street thought, always a good sign, right? And in terms of earnings per share, Meta hit $6.03, while analysts had predicted $5.29. That's a big win. So overall, things are looking pretty solid in terms of revenue and earnings. But here's where it gets interesting. Their daily active user numbers didn't quite hit expectations. Meta reported 3.29 billion daily active people, and while that's a 5% increase year over year, Wall Street was actually looking for 3.31 billion. So just a little under the mark there, and that's probably why we saw shares drop a bit in after-hours trading. So Meta's doing great in terms of revenue and profitability, but there are still a few areas that investors are keeping a close eye on. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta's CEO, seems pretty pumped about everything though. During the earnings call, he called this time the most dynamic moment he's ever seen in the tech industry. That's a pretty bold statement, right? He's seeing massive potential not only for Meta but also for all the developers building on their platforms. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest areas Meta is doubling down on: AI. Meta's really going hard on AI investments, and that's expected to drive up company-wide spending in the near future. They're guiding for capital expenditures between $38 billion and $40 billion in 2024, and even up to $50 billion by 2025. That's a lot of money. But Meta seems to believe that these investments will pay off in the long run. Zuckerberg mentioned that Meta AI is actually on its way to becoming one of the world's most used AI assistants, with over 500 million monthly active users already. 500 million users, that's a huge milestone. They've even added a button to access Meta AI in the Instagram and Facebook app search bars, so they're making it super easy for users to engage with this new feature. And speaking of AI, in July, Meta released its latest AI model, Llama 3.1405 billion. Plus, just recently they announced a new tool called Movie General now. This is interesting because Movie Gen is an AI video generator that can actually create footage with sound. Imagine the possibilities with that. Zuckerberg also mentioned that they're working with the public sector on using Llama for government applications. Right now, Meta isn't worried about monetizing Meta AI just yet. They're focusing on making it a really valuable and engaging experience for consumers, and their chief financial officer, Susan Li, reiterated this on the call. So it seems like they're trying to nail down the user experience first before they start looking at ways to make money off it. That's kind of the playbook they're following, and it sounds like they're committed to it. But with all these moves, there are definitely some concerns out there. Some analysts are worried that the growth in daily active users missing expectations could signal challenges ahead. If Meta's core advertising business faces any issues, covering these rising AI costs could become difficult. Jasmine Enberg, a principal analyst at a marketer, brought up that exact point, saying Meta will need to show it can sustain these AI costs, especially if the ad revenue doesn't keep up. So, it's one of those we'll see situations. And Meta's not just focusing on AI, they're also stepping up their game in hardware. You heard that right, hardware. At their big developer conference in September, they showed off a prototype of a new augmented reality headset called Orion. This device can project digital representations like media, people, games, you name it, onto the real world. And if you're interested in mixed reality, Meta's got the Quest 3, which is the newest addition to their line of mixed reality headsets, and it's also a more affordable option that hit the shelves this month, so they're really trying to make a splash in the AR/VR space. Now, on a more serious note, Meta's still dealing with a lot of scrutiny over the effects of its platforms, especially concerning young users' mental health. Last year, a lawsuit filed by multiple state attorneys general accused Meta of intentionally making its platforms addictive to teens. However, they recently scored a legal win when a judge dismissed a shareholder lawsuit claiming the company misled investors about how well they could protect children on their platforms. But it's still a pretty complex situation for them. Just this September, Meta announced that all Instagram accounts for users under 18 would be private by default. So they're taking steps to address these concerns, but yeah, it's definitely still an area to watch. So, there you have it. Meta's having a pretty impressive year, no doubt. Their revenue and earnings beat expectations, their AI user base is massive, and they're rolling out some ambitious new tech. But they're not out of the woods. There are challenges ahead with user growth, rising costs, and ongoing legal pressures. How it all shakes out is anyone's guess, but it's safe to say Meta's making some bold bets on the future.
Thanks for watching our video. Please hit the bell icon and subscribe the channel. Thank you.